Oh, we're more than ready. We've been preparing for 2 years, and at this point, we're ready to just execute on our game plan.
As you're looking around this room, seeing all these different agencies represented here, what's the message you're going to give them today?
Thank you. They have been our partners for the last 2 years in preparing for this event, and we could not do it without them.
Does it stress everybody out a little bit knowing this is coming, or are we in good shape?
No, I think you get stressed when you're concerned you're not ready, and we have put so much preparation into the event. We actually are looking forward to executing and performing at a very high level.
I asked Chief Bryant the same question. The eyes are going to be on the city, but as your agency runs point on security and ops, that the eyes are going to be on your agency as well. I mean, does that impact how you perform?
No, I think if we do our job properly, we won't be noticed. We're much like the officials. We just need to go out and execute. And our goal is for everyone who comes to this city to have a fantastic time. And that's what we're planning for.
You believe we're getting this close already?
I'm ready.
You ready for it to be over?
Well, I would go that far, but I'm ready for the game. How's that?
What is the message that you want the public to hear from the folks in this room?
Oh, I mean, take pride in what Atlanta's doing. We're hosting this Super Bowl, which is a fantastic event. Enjoy it, and know that your city has an A game, and they're ready to execute.
Good. Thank you, Chief.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Rodney Bryant, the Assistant Chief of the Atlanta Police Department.
And what do you spell the last name for me?
Bryant is my last. Rodney, Rodney, is the first.
Got it.
So you got all these people in this room. I mean, it's getting closer. You starting to feel that?
Absolutely. I think that this exercise will allow us to see how prepared we are. We have gone through all our written documents, our written plans. So this tabletop exercise allows all of the parties, all the entities, all the agencies that are participating in the Super Bowl to actually go through their plans one time to see how well prepared and to give us a level of situation awareness around the event.
Could you, by chance, just give us any type of example of a scenario that you guys will be running through today?
We'll run through many different exercises, everything from an incident at the stadium, incident throughout the city. The thing about us doing this exercise is to be able to see how prepared we are for whatever situation may occur. So we don't have all the actual scenarios. They are going to be a surprise like any other event that may occur during that time.
So, look, I mean, end of the day, I mean, you got a lot of different agencies do a lot of different things, different turfs. I mean, I know everybody talks about cooperating and things like that, but for you, I mean, what's that like seeing that all these agencies working together?
Well, this isn't the first time that all these agencies, this is the first time all of us may be in this room, but most of the agencies here work together on major events throughout the city. The Atlanta Police Department, the City of Atlanta, and our partners host events all the time. But the Super Bowl is unique. It's one of the largest events that we've had, and so we bring in additional partners that we may have worked with in other events.
Could you tell us if you're going to do anything different? I know it's more than 20 years ago, the 1996 Olympics situation like that. Is this one of the reasons why you guys decided to come together?
Absolutely. The Super Bowl from 20 years ago is much different from the Super Bowl you'll see tomorrow, this year.
Start that one more time.
The Super Bowl you saw 20 years ago is different than what you will see in next year. Reason being, the world has changed. We see different threat levels. Our technology has changed, and so we're here today to see how well we are prepared to address today's event.
APD's running point on security. I mean, do you feel that pressure a little bit, knowing that sort of the eyes of the world are going to be on Atlanta, but as sort of a result, eyes on the department?
Not a significant level of pressure, because the partners that we have, our state, federal, and local partners, we generally put on events very well. So no significant pressure as it relates to that.
Thanks, Chief.
All right.
Yeah, so I got here this summer, and I'll have to say, I've seen different events throughout the country and different positions I've held, and I've never seen an area where law enforcement and also the private community work better together than here in Atlanta.
The FBI, has got a big part in all of this. When it comes to the security piece, I mean, a lot of it folks, won't be able to see. But as you're sort of assessing threats and feeding APD that intel, I mean, sort of to describe that role and how critical it is.
Yeah, so intel is really our major contribution to this process. And that's really where we strive to be very, very effective. And the way we do that is through these partnerships that we have here today, and these partnerships have been going on specifically for the Super Bowl for the last 2 years. So we've been laser focused on this as a team of law enforcement and intelligence professionals. So that information sharing will be, it'll be normal for us. This won't be anything new. We share information on a daily basis, and any threats that we may get related to the Super Bowl or anything, we share it with our partners. So that's how we would do it here related to Super Bowl.
Is that when people, you hear about threats, it's sort of, esoteric, I guess, a little bit. But, give us a sense of the kind of things that, the FBI is looking for, keeping an ear open for, as you approach these events.
Yeah, it's a good question. Really, we're looking at everything. There's nothing that we're not focused on one particular area. Anything that could be a threat to the safety or security of this Super Bowl or anything surrounding the Super Bowl is important to us. So any information we get, we'll share it.
Why, look, these types of events can be just sort of targets for somebody trying to make a statement. The public has a critical role, I know, being eyes and ears for you. I mean, what's your message to the public on how they can assist you?
Our message to the public is simple. It's if you see something, just let us know. Call 911, call the police department, call the FBI, call anyone in law enforcement that you can reach out to, just to let us know. I mean, the eyes and ears of the public is so important. There are only so many law enforcement officers here that are working this event. We really depend on the businesses. We depend on the private citizens. We depend on people seeing things on social media. We depend on anybody that sees anything that just doesn't seem right. We depend on them to let us know.
What have we learned? I mean, some of the, as we've been planning for this and working through these things, what are some of the, maybe the bumps in the road that have come up that you guys have had time to smooth out? What's the biggest thing?
I don't recall any major bumps in the road. The main thing is just that personal relationship we developed through these processes for a couple of years, to know who works where, who has a specific role for certain different events and certain different topics where they may be specialized in, for us to be able to know who to go to. And anytime there's an event that happens, you don't want that to be the first time you meet the people who are going to actually deal with that situation. And so I think the planning has been just extraordinary for this particular event, and I think we're all comfortable with each other, and we're comfortable with each other's roles and our capabilities. So I think this has just been a phenomenal process, and there's a reason it takes 2 years to prepare for a Super Bowl. There's a lot of moving parts, and the people here should just really be commended for their participation and their outreaching that they have given to us and that we've given to others. It's been a great learning opportunity for me and for, I think, everyone involved.
Got it. Good.
Can you say your name for us?
Chris Hacker, Hacker.
And your title?
Special Agent in charge with the FBI.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Amy Patterson, AMY Patterson.
Okay, and your title?
I'm the Vice President of Operations and Logistics.
Gotcha. So you're with the host committee, correct?
I am with the host committee. My role is to oversee the public safety, traffic, transportation, and crowd management planning.
Public safety is what we're talking about today, though. So give me a run through what's going to happen today.
Absolutely. So in October, we submitted our plans to the NFL of how we would secure and keep safe the 10-day operational period. Today, we're going to practice how we'll play in January. We're going to run through 8 scenarios, from simple protests up to what would happen if we had a mass casualty event here in the city. And we're going to show how the agencies come together, multi-agency collaboration, and how we work through those possible scenarios that could happen during the 10 days of Super Bowl.
Now, I know this may seem like a dumb question, but why is this so important to do right now?
You've got to practice, right? All athletes practice like they're going to play. And so it's important that we bring these agencies together and we talk about the scenarios. We talk about what could happen and test our responses. We'll have an after-action report after this, and we'll talk about were the responses correct? What do we need to tweak? How are we ready to play the game when it comes here from a public safety standpoint in January and February?
What's the biggest challenge with this amount of people coming into the city?
It's the unknown, right? For public safety, a lot of it is the unknown of what could happen and how do we try to anticipate what those unknowns could be. One of our biggest challenges always is traffic and transportation. We'll talk about that in here as well. If there is a response, if we have something happen in the city, not only what is that public safety response, but also how do we mediate any traffic and transportation issues that might cause for our residents and businesses.
Gotcha. And you know, Atlanta have hosted plenty of events. We take it back to 1996 with the Olympics. There was a bombing here. You know,
Yes.
Do you guys think about that type of stuff?
We do, and again, I'll go back to the practice like you play. Athletes need to practice our public safety practices as well, and so we take what's happened in other cities and apply that to how we would respond here in Atlanta. Las Vegas shooting, the bombing of the Olympics. We look at those after action reports and we talk about what would that look like in the city of Atlanta if it was to happen here.
Gotcha. Now, of course, this is going to be closed to the public.
Yes.
But is there anything that you guys would like to relay to the public?
We want you to know that it's going to be a safe and secure event. We want you to know that we are practicing, and we want you to know that we're ready to host the Super Bowl.
Got it.
I've got one question. Back
Yes.
to the Olympic Park bombing. What was learned from that, and what will be put into place because of it?
You know, I'm going to defer to our public safety on that. I was not in Atlanta in 1996. I didn't get here till '98. So I'm going to. I would defer to our public safety partners on that.
What can we learn from events like Las Vegas, something more recent?
You know, we looked at the businesses around the park and the buildings around the park, and we've had security meetings with them about being aware who is coming in and out of your hotel, what packages are coming in and out of your hotel, your businesses that might be closed on the weekend. What is your security plan? Immediately after Las Vegas, we pulled together all of those businesses and had some sit-down meetings about what's happening in Centennial Olympic Park and how they can better help us prepare for those events happening in the park.
Thank you.
Great, thank you guys. Absolutely.
I'm Kathy Lanier, I'm the Chief Security Officer for the NFL.
So what's your impression of what you're seeing with all the folks in this room?
So I've been involved in tabletop exercises like this for the better part of the last 30 years, and I can tell you there's nothing that really solidifies cooperation and coordination better than an event like this. This is really where the rubber meets the road, just before the rubber meets the road. So we have to talk through all these scenarios, roles, responsibilities, communications. This is really the kind of dry run rehearsal for us today for the upcoming events. And it is, it's events that go for 10 days, so it's a big deal.
What's your impression of how our team here in Atlanta has prepared? Just your observations of how Atlanta's folks are performing so far.
The public safety community here is incredible. The cohesion, the cooperation, the working together, police officers, firefighters, emergency management, everybody here is in lockstep, and they've been wonderful to work with. We go to cities, different cities every year, as you know, and we see a wide variance on public safety entities and how well they work together, but this is superior performance here. We have had such an easy time for us working here with this public safety community.
So what does that mean for your comfort level going in?
I feel great. I think today we'll see just how important all of those long-standing best practices, all those long-standing relationships, how important those all are. Because when crisis hits, there's no time to figure out who's going to talk to who.
Could you give us an example? I know you've done this countless of times, but could you give us an example of why these are so important pertaining to the Super Bowl? You've done this.
Sure. Now you think that everybody knows. All these different agencies come here. They all know their own mission very well. They're all very talented. They've got a lot of experience. What this does is it allows us to see that when there's multiple scenarios, multiple things happening, each agency not only does their own mission well, but they do it well coordinating with others. And that's where problems usually occur. And it's not just during the crisis, it's after the crisis. And a lot of times people think in these scenarios, once the crisis ends, we all put our pencils down and go home. But having lived through large crises before, I can tell you the most complicated parts of these scenarios is what happens after the bad situation ends, because now you've got a lot of recovery to do, and that's where things can really go wrong. So this gives us a chance to work through all of those scenarios.
So what will you be watching for as a representative of the league here?
Communications primarily, as long as people communicate well. And I will say it again, in all the years I've been doing this, the one thing that in the after actions after every major event that we always say we can do better is communications. We can try and be flawless, but there's always going to be some issue with communications. So this is where I want to watch today to see how we work through those communications. Are people talking with everybody that needs to be involved? And are we making notifications the right place, right time, right people?
Is there anything you guys learned from Minneapolis that you take it into Atlanta?
Well, I learned it was a lot colder there, but today is not a good example for me in Atlanta. So we learn something from every event, not just our events, but we travel around and we watch other events, and we try and incorporate all those lessons learned in each new plan. So we have a couple things in here that are from previous events.
for the record, it's going to be 50 degrees warmer here
Well,
than
for
it
the
was in
record.
Minneapolis the day I landed there last year.
25